Chief,
Talk to me, Goose.
what's it like? Today we're going to talk about America's Great Loop. Do you remember that was years ago now, Chief? For you, for me, I've done one. I haven't done one in a couple of years now, so it's been. But I'm going to talk about because we picked Pete up at Delaware City Marina. Pete ran from Delaware City Marina, basically all the way down the river system. And you've been up and down it now once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that's this week's video, because a lot of you guys right now are getting to the Erie Canal. So we're going to talk. Last week we ended the video on from the Erie, getting to the Erie Canal from Delaware City to the Erie Canal. Now this week we're going to talk about the Erie Canal. We should do a Precious video, huh, Chief?
Yeah.
Hey, I need to do a. It's a little inside joke, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I should do a Patreon Precious video so we can talk about it a little bit, what happened there, some funny stuff. Anyway, so the Erie Canal all the way through the Great Lakes and then over to Chicago, we made some huge mistakes over there. I think it was a critical mistake, especially for the one-time looper. And I don't want to see you guys making the same mistake, so make sure you watch this video all the way through.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that at the end of the video, because we made a huge tactical error, and it cost us, I think it cost us, now that we've done it twice,
Yeah.
and we both did it, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we pull up to the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal can be intimidating because of all the locks, and I think we... man, I can't remember. There's 55 locks on that Erie Canal, something like that. Somebody in the comments can help out with that. There's a lot of locks on the Erie Canal.
Yeah.
And we went the year of COVID, and halfway through the Erie Canal, you can either take the turnoff there. That's if you're too tall, because if you're over 15 feet on the Erie Canal, you really shouldn't be attempting it. Because there's that one bridge, and I've been under it again since we went. You can easily get under it at 15 feet, 15
Yeah, I think
15.
it's 15:10, isn't it?
No, there was a construction last time I was on, so that with that construction net there ain't no way. It's about 15.6, and you're scraping the net.
Yeah.
So I mean, if your boat's down to 15.2, 15.3, 15.4. Even 15.6, you could probably slide under it. Just make sure your tanks are full of water and
Throw
fuel.
some water into Bilge.
Yeah. Whatever you got to do, get that thing low, because there's one bridge there that will hurt you. But let's back up a little bit. I love the Erie Canal. I've been through the Erie Canal now myself. I got to think, probably about 4 times. How about you, Chief?
Yeah. It was one of my favorite parts of it, so I loved it.
Yeah, you just stop in these little towns.
Yeah.
A lot of free dockage.
Yeah.
Some of them charge you for power. You'll pull in there and they'll charge you for power.
Yeah.
And then you can just walk wherever you wanted to walk. Whether you're going to go eat or whether you're going to got to go to the store, or the hardware store, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for me, I love the Erie Canal. I absolutely love it. It's one of those things I could do a summer and just go back and forth up and down the Erie Canal.
Yeah, don't they have those little canal boats too?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do the Erie Canal, yeah.
Very expensive. I think they're about $4,000 or $5,000 a week
Yeah.
to rent one of those, but very cool.
Yeah.
And they're just little, I'll see if I can dig up a picture
Like
here.
little miniature Noah Arks or
Yeah,
something.
that's what they remind me of.
They're
Anyway.
little long things, and they're they're narrow and they're slow too, very slow.
Yeah, they only do about 5 or 6 knots.
Yeah.
And so the Erie Canal, I think, is probably one of my favorite parts of the loop. Halfway through there, you've got the decision to make, and that is whether you can, if you're too tall. That's one advantage to be in. When you're looking at these loop boats, draft and the draft height is so important, because once you get past that 15.5 feet, a lot of things change for you. And the Erie Canal is one of them. You lose the Erie Canal if you can't get under 15.6, let's say.
Yeah.
And then it depends on where the water pools are and stuff like that too. But let's just call it 15.6. And otherwise you have to go around through Canada, Well, we didn't have passports, so we didn't have any choice. We had to get under the 15 foot mark. And we've done this thing twice now, or I've done it about 4 times. And the main ships make it under there no problem. They can just drop the one we got back over here for sale. All these main ships, the 3900, the
Just
400,
drop the mast.
yeah, just drop the mast. Those get down below 15 foot. So getting below that is no big deal at all. But that's where you got to get. And so when you guys are looking for your loop boats, just make sure, especially if somebody's watching these videos, that you're getting ready to do the loop or something like that. Just remember that you don't have any choice. You've got to go through Canada when you hit the Erie Canal. And the Erie Canal is, to me, the only other thing that we didn't do on the Erie Canal that I would have really enjoyed is at the very last lock. I don't know if you remember it. There's a museum there, and you can pull around on the side of that, and you can actually spend the night there. And we didn't do that. And then you can go through the museum. I would have taken a day.
Is that
to
where
do
you
it.
go through the cave canal? Yeah, the
very
end.
the very end.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and so I think I would have enjoyed that. If I ever get a chance to go do that one, I'll probably do that again.
Yeah.
But the key factor is that you got let's say the east end of the Erie Canal, you got the west end of the Erie Canal. You can make the east end at 19 whatever it is 6. But you cannot make the west end of the Erie Canal. There's one bridge there that you just can't get under. And again, I've been under it 3 or 4 times in 3 or 4 different boats. A couple of good boats to be looking at is the main ship, 3900 or the 400 can make it no problem at all. And same thing with...
I think the Rivieras, they're a little higher end. Those, you can get under all that.
Nah, the Rivieras I think are too tall.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, I mean this boat right here, we were able to get under it no problem at all. Most boats, you can get down to 15 feet, even to the top of the bridge. It's what's on top of that you have to cut off. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all the shit. Yeah.
Yeah, to get all the stuff off of it, stuff like all the antennas and radar and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it gets a little bit technical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so we both can agree that we love the Erie Canal. Once you get out of the Erie Canal, you go to the Towanda Wall, and that's where we met Precious. Pete was a single guy at the time, and he decided that he was going to go on a date when we got there.
Didn't work out too well.
No, it didn't work out so well.
People lie. That's all we'll say.
Anyway, me and Bev went to sleep, and the next morning, I didn't get it out of him for like 3 days, but then when I found out what happened, now me and my son just rake him over the coals. He went and met a lady, and things just didn't go well at all. It was
No.
It was terrible. It was pretty bad. And that was at the Towanda Wall. That's at the end of the Erie Canal.
Yeah.
We stayed there for like a couple days because we went and we Ubered over to the Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went and enjoyed the falls.
Uh-huh.
And then once you leave there, you gotta go through one more lock.
Yep.
And then you jump onto Lake Erie. What happened when we jumped onto Lake Erie, Chief?
It all went bad on Lake Erie, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were with.
Then it got a lot better after that, though.
Yeah. We all got a little freaked out on this one, but we jumped into Lake Erie, and we decided, hey, we're gonna go. We're in a 50-foot boat. How bad could it be? We get out. We stuck our nose out there, and the boat came up over the top and then slammed back down. I think the propellers came out of the water, and it was so bad. So we turned around. We went back over, and there was an air show going on.
Yep.
And all of the boats, the Coast Guard boats and stuff like that were there. And we ended up going into this little cove. All the marinas were full because it was
yeah, we stayed on a wall for 2 days.
Yeah, we had to stay for a day.
Oh, it was a full day,
Yeah, it was. Remember, we got to watch the air show.
Yeah.
And then the next day we were able to leave. They said, hey, you guys can leave, but if you guys go in here, you cannot come out of here until after the air show is what they told us.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We had a place to take Daisy.
Yeah.
We actually had a little park that we could dinghy over to.
Yeah.
And then we stayed on the wall. We had to use our own power. We had no power, water, or anything. But for this boat, it was no big deal. We had everything we needed.
Yeah.
And so we learned our lesson very early on Lake Erie. To me, Lake Erie, and now that I've been on Erie again 3 or 4 times, Erie is probably one of the worst. It is the hardest. I don't want to say worst. one of the hardest Great Lakes to deal with. I think they say it's so shallow.
Yeah, it was my least favorite.
Yeah, but I liked the Erie City. I liked all the stops.
Yeah, the stops weren't bad. Yeah.
Yeah, the stops
The
weren't
people
bad.
were really nice.
Nice, yeah. So I mean, I liked Lake Erie and I liked all the stops. I mean, I didn't like Lake Erie as it was my least favorite body of water, and it was probably the least favorite part of the loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it would be.
Yeah.
And then you come through there, then you head up then you jump over to Sinclair, and then over to remember this the pool coming out of there going into Huron.
Yeah.
That we saw that boat just about sink. You grab that boat and knock the dinghy off the back of it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so you got a little bit of a challenge right there. But then once you get onto Huron, Huron was kind of a boring lake. We caught it on a great weather window.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, we didn't have any weather issues on Huron, and probably some of the prettiest sunrises I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Just because I think that's you're so far north there, and you just see the sun come up over the lake. I think it's probably, I always joke with people out here at Little Palm that the prettiest sunrises are on Lake Huron, and the prettiest sunsets are right here at the island that I work on. So Huron was just absolutely beautiful sunrises. We had absolutely flawless. You got to start watching for the traps, the fishing nets and stuff like that on Lake Huron.
Yeah.
Didn't see so much on Erie because you got Put in Bay. We tried to pull in there, but our boat was too big. They didn't have any accommodations for us, remember? And then we had to ride out a storm for a few days, so we ended up going all the way to the end of Lake Erie there. That we found a marina that we got stuck in for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I remember. That was a nice marina.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And then, like I said, then we headed into Huron. Huron was pretty boring actually. It wasn't boring; it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But it was weather-wise. I think we had just slick calm, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And
coming around the corner there, we ended up at Mackinac Island.
Yeah.
We ended up staying there 1 or 2 nights. Do you remember?
Can't remember, but it was like 1 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we took the tour of the island. A lot of chocolate and a lot of horse poop.
Fudge, yeah.
Yeah, fudge and horse poop. But it was, I'm glad we stopped there, and then we came up Michigan. Michigan was probably one of my favorite parts of the loop. I don't know what it was, but the people,
yeah, just the way
the boating. Remember the one bridge we went on, and all the YouTube subscribers were chanting us and yelling at us.
Michigan was my favorite part of it too.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite lakes. Again, we caught a great weather window for it.
Yeah. And
just seemed like every day that we moved, we just had a great time.
Yeah.
Easy
hit
going.
all the marinas perfect.
Yeah, hit all the marinas perfect. I do remember on Lake Michigan, one of the marinas could not accommodate the size of our boat. So it's another thing when you start getting into those smaller towns and smaller marinas. They could not accommodate our boat, but what they did do for us is they said, hey, I'm sorry that we can't accommodate your boat. You're too big, but you can just dinghy right here in the harbor, and you're welcome to use all the facilities for free. Remember that? You got bordered by the Coast Guard there too.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that was a nice place.
It was, and me and Bev took the dog date.
And there was a bunch of boats anchored out there.
Yeah, there was a few. And me and Daisy went on, and I took her in, and while I took her in, the Coast Guard boarded us and just checking paperwork and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's the only time we got boarded on the entire loop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said before, so now we're setting up to come into Chicago here. We had raised our mast back up. Once we got out of the Erie Canal, we put our mast back up. I don't know why, but we said we wanted it up because you can't put the mast down and you can't use the dinghy. And we do some anchoring on the Great Lakes. And so we had to have access to our dinghy, so we put the mast up, and this is our crucial mistake that we made.
Yeah.
Because I think we're like 19, let's just call it 20 feet with the mast up. And with probably a little bit taller than that, 21 feet, with the mast up. With the mast down, we were under right at 15 feet. Mm-hmm. And we put it up, and we should have put it down, I thought, because we took the Calumet
commercial route.
Yeah, the Calumet River, which takes you over to the Illinois River. We did that in this boat because we had the mast up. Now that we've run it both ways, Definitely, and I think you can be like 16 foot. Now, again, in the comments here, somebody wants to look that up. I want to say 16.5, 16.6. It depends on the water pools and all that stuff. Between 16 and 17 feet, you can run the Chicago River. And I highly recommend, if your boat can get under all the bridges on the Chicago River, that is the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the mistake we made.
Mm-hmm.
We should have lowered our mast. It only takes us literally an hour to lower our
hour
mast.
and a half at the most. Yeah.
Yeah, to lower our mast, and then we should have taken the Chicago River and done the downtown. It's so beautiful. The buildings are beautiful.
Really cool.
So cool. We've done it at night, and we've done it in the day. I've done it up the thing, and I've done it down. I've gone both ways on the Chicago River. Anyway, next week, this is episode 7. Next week we'll do episode 8, and I believe we'll call it quits at episode 8 because we'll just talk about the river system and getting down the river system. I don't think I need to break that into 2 series because it's just coming down the river system, which you were with us 90% of the way coming down the river system.
All the way to Alabama.
Yeah, and so next week we'll talk about that, and especially as you guys, you loopers that are out there right now, getting ready to do you should be in the area, getting close to the Erie Canal. You should be somewhere close to New York right now, or you guys that are prepping to do the loop. Anyway, we appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. We can't, this channel doesn't survive without you guys, and we do truly appreciate you guys so much. Peace out. Thanks
guys.
Thank you, Pete, for coming to sit with us today and doing the video. You don't do a lot of them anymore, but it's nice having you these last couple weeks to do a couple of videos with me.
Yep.